We are joined today by head baseball coach Justus Scott, a student athlete and graduate of University of Memphis. Coach Scott played for the Tigers from 1994 to 1996, grabbed his bachelor's from Memphis with a BS in education, and attained his master's of science in health and physical education from Middle State University. No stranger to success. Coach Scott has coached in college, the pros, and even international. His 2016 team had the second largest win-loss turnaround in the state, having won 12 more the year before. Coach, how are you? Thank you for joining us today.
I'm doing good. Great to be here.
Absolutely. Hey, I always start these interviews with a general check. How's the family doing during this lockdown, or I don't even know what level of quarantine we're in now these days. How's everyone doing with your family first and foremost, and how's everyone on the team?
Oh, thanks for asking. We're doing good. It's my kids are getting a little stir crazy. Which is probably real normal for a lot of people around the country, but we're doing good. Ridgecrest is we're fortunate in these regards that it's pretty isolated.
Sure.
So we're we didn't get hit too hard with numbers. It's been okay. Our team is they're back on campus in town. And they're doing good.
Good to hear that. Hey, let's get right to it. Before the season abruptly ended, Cerro was 9-11, 3-4 in the conference. Give me a quick overview of how the season went. And second part of that question would be, how did the team react to all of a sudden just full stop?
Yeah.
And obviously the adjustment you guys had to make as a coaching staff in informing these players of what is going to happen next. And of course, at that time, no one knew what was going to happen next.
Sure. In regards to season, like so many teams, we're about halfway through and we were playing better baseball. Like so many teams that you kind of hit that mid stretch and you maybe over some rough patches. We were very young, and I know most junior college teams are, but we only had 5 sophomores. So we were, 22, 23 freshmen. So we were young. And that was a piece of it. Guys kind of playing every day. And we were kind of, again, playing good baseball about halfway through. And the good thing was a lot of freshmen were getting ABs and innings on the mound. So it was unfortunate, the timing, when you start playing well, that it kind of gets taken from you.
Sure.
How our guys reacted, I think it was a mixed bag. I think it was, everybody, a little bit of shock.
Yep.
Certainly disappointing. These are young kids, and regardless if they're going to play after the 2-year level, this is what they do. They put a little time and effort in it, and again, so there's shock, there's disappointment, a little sadness, but they handled it well. I probably had all 4 or 5 emotions. It's
Sure.
just it's new for all. It was new for all of us, first time. It's certainly a new event that happened. But we kind of we did the best we could with guys, trying to keep them through classes. We did a good job. Our guys did a good job. So academically, they finished online. We were still able to monitor them. Another fortunate thing about where we are is that our guys come from out of area.
Yeah.
We have one local high school. So not most guys stayed, this semester where they were living. And I was able to, kind of keep a thumb on them a little bit with how they were doing academically. A few went home. So we were fortunate in that regard.
Good. Well, going back to the season and the last couple of games that had completed before everything stopped, a lot of close games. Chaffee, San Bernardino Valley College, Barstow, great competition there. And prior to that, there was almost like a football score against Victor Valley College, in 1915. Unfortunately, you guys ended up losing that game. But the overall feel of the team this year, and even more important, what is it going to take for the team in 2021? As you mentioned, you guys are young. To get on the other side, on the winning side of that, of all these close games that are happening, what is it going to take?
Sure. It's you hear a lot of coaches talk about this. Is certainly an offensive game now at the community college level, and I think across the nation in the last few years, offensively. But there's no secret. It's pitching. Last year, I think what got us last year was we didn't play very good defense, especially in middle innings towards, the 7th, 8th, 9th. Some of those close games, if you're not playing defense and you don't have overpowering arms to overcome it, yeah, it'll bite you at the end. And that's what happened. But, same time, I think our guys, they battled quite a bit. Chafee, San Bernardino always are good. Always good quality teams, talent, great coaching staff. So they're good baseball games. You got to play very well to be in it.
Sure.
So I think, you mentioned that Victor Valley game. It was a home game at Cerro Coso. And if you've never been there, it could get interesting at times. I can't remember if it was windy, but the wind blows a little bit. So it certainly sometimes gets offensively at our place on certain days. It was ugly, but it was fun. It was one of those games where there's a little bit of fun at times. But so this year, it's one of those things. Again, there's no secret. It's all about pitching to beat good teams. You got to be in the baseball game at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Hey, Nick Erickson, heck of a player. Not only was he fourth in the conference in RBIs, but also led the conference in home runs. In addition, Matt Chavez, who was also turning a solid performance of the year, was pitching with 3.52 ERA. What are these two guys moving forward? What are their plans?
Nick is he was a redshirt sophomore last year.
Okay.
We had 5 sophomores, and Nick was one of them. The other 4 had a chance to move on, and they decided to come back. Which a little side note is obviously from a baseball standpoint helps us. But Nick took a scholarship to Kansas Wesleyan.
Okay.
He had some options, which is always good for a player. But that's where he chose. He felt like that was the best fit. And Matt is back. He'll be a sophomore with us. Freshman last year, and I think before that last game, his ERA was down in the low 2s, and San Bernardino roughed him up a little bit. So he had a good year.
Yeah, absolutely. These two players are obviously turning. Any other players that surprised you in 2020? That stood out for you, and even more important, that stood out this season, but you're looking forward to in 2021.
Oh, absolutely. And we actually, on paper, and it's kind of, everybody's always optimistic going in, but which is great. But on paper, very fortunate and very happy to have a lot of these guys back.
Sure.
Last year, Michael Dorr jumps out at me. He's a freshman that, believe it or not, he's a Reno kid. Didn't get a ton of ABs in high school. Talented kid, off a very good high school baseball team. But he was one of those guys towards the end of the year that was swinging the bat good, plays great defense. And basically our whole outfield, if I had to pick one, all freshmen, Tito Hernandez, Kevin Verduzco, redshirt freshman. They all swung the bat a little bit, and they play good defense. And so those guys coming back is nice. But those 3 guys, and I don't know if I'm kind of skipping forward here, but I've been here 6, maybe 7 years. It kind of all runs together. Somewhere in there, 6, 7 years.
Hey, that's always a good thing.
It's just, it's fun. It really is. That on paper, early, this is the most depth we've ever had. We have 40 guys. And we kind of have depth all over the field. And for us, that's a big number, again, because of our location and one local high school and how the recruiting process goes. So I'm extremely excited.
Of course. Well, on that same note, how's the recruiting been? It always varies. Different coaches and different programs that I talk to, especially with the pandemic, players that committed and all of a sudden are taking a look at, well, I don't know. How's it been for you guys?
It's actually, this has been our best recruiting year.
Oh, wow.
Which is interesting. Yeah. Which is interesting. I think I wouldn't say that COVID and kind of things getting shut down helped us, but maybe a way it did. Because again, I'll try to keep it short, but we have one local high school, and again, we're isolated. So we have to truly find guys, in California and outside and actually recruit, kind of earn your money type thing. And this year this recruiting class, it wasn't that we got on guys earlier. We just had more luck, I think. It was one of those years, and mainly because I think high school baseball going down, a lot of these showcases going down. I think some kids kind of, hey, here's Cerro Coso. They've been talking to us. They're still interested, and we don't have to necessarily wait till June to see if something else comes along.
Sure.
So, and that's kind of a guesstimate. It's just a feel for kind of there she is. Hey, sweetie.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. She's got her princess dress on. So
yeah, good. Having fun.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was kind of it. Again, it's kind of a guesstimate. But also at the same time, our culture has changed, and each year it seems like we're getting a little bit better. We've been flirting with the playoffs when we were in the CVC for a couple of years, so I think all that's a part of it. But I do think that maybe this is one of those times that this kind of helped us a little bit.
Got it. Hey, Coach. One last question for you, and again, thank you for your time. During this lockdown pandemic, what's the one thing you've learned to appreciate more?
That's a great question. I think two things jump out at me, and one is you forget about baseball. Our family. I am very fortunate that we were able to have a job. And that we didn't get burnt with a lot of this, and so from a financial standpoint, we. A little bit of a struggle here and there, obviously, but just very fortunate and blessed that we're able to, put food on the table and all that stuff that I think people take for granted sometimes. When there's a lot of people out there that are hurting, it tugs at my heartstring for people that are struggling now, just because they're in a small business or they're in a business that, consider non-essential and they haven't been working for a while. It's so tough on people. And so very fortunate, try not to take it for granted when things get back to normal, that type of thing, that's just very fortunate what you have. And, we were fortunate with that. And obviously you probably ask all the coaches around, this is probably be a common theme, is that, man, just being able to get back and doing something, either in the weight room or the, hey, it's coming down the road. We could do more, instead of small groups that get on a baseball field. It's really not a job. It's just fun seeing those kids out there, young kids, and playing a game. It's so yeah, that's certainly something. It's more exciting to get back on the field.
Absolutely, and you're right. And I think on top of that, that's probably actually one of the best answers I've gotten from it, and I can tell you're passionate about it, and it's very meaningful. And the other thing too is just being able to be in the lives of these student athletes again, kind of mold them and craft them, keep an eye on them, keep them on that right track is important, because you've seen it, we've all seen it. When certain things, when the guidance isn't there, a lot of things can happen. And so,
absolutely, yeah,
guys being there again to lead these young men to where they need to be is definitely a good thing.
And especially at this level, I think it's almost even more important that this means a lot to them. And who knows, after 2 years of community college in California, that might have been the difference for a handful of guys, in their life. So
absolutely. Well, Coach, I sincerely thank you for your time. Yeah. We'll be making a couple of trips out there this season, this 2021, and again, we're still trying to figure out what's going to happen. We're all waiting for January, but I'm going to come up there, cover a couple of your games, and I'm going to be looking forward to that. And
great,
thank you again for your time.
Thanks both. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Coach. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.